Peace, greetings, beautiful people. My name is Charity Berrier Muhammad, and this is Gumbo for the Soul. Thank you for tuning in. The next video that you're about to watch is a video of me and my dad. I just met my dad 2 months ago. In this video, actually, we had only known each other for 2 months, and he was actually in New York at an event of his, but he still wanted to go live. So this video, this live stream is just a testament to me of how great a guy he is, because even though he was out of town doing an event, he still wanted to go live. We talk about meeting each other. We talk about how it felt to meet each other in person. We talk about his book, my book, his upcoming events. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in. Stay blessed and have the day you deserve. Peace. Welcome in, Rachel. Welcome in, Alex. Welcome in, Lex. All right. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
We can't hear you. Can you hear me?
You can't?
Huh? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, hey everybody. We doing this differently. How's everybody doing?
Can you hear me?
Okay, she said no static. She said they can hear us both. All right, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself since we running a little behind. How much time you got now since you out? Look like you outside.
I am. I'm sitting outside. I thought it would be nicer out here. Well, there's nobody in the house, but I'm here. I thought yeah. I tested this place, so here I am. I got on my hoodie.
Yeah. Okay. So how did the event go?
Oh, it went well. It was standing room only.
Oh,
About 50 plus people. So it was good. It a good introduction, a good program. The place is very important where I am right now. There won't be a sleepover, but I'm in Rye, New York. I'm at the home of Justice John Jay. John Jay was instrumental in ending slavery here in the state of New York. So I've slept here. I've slept here once. I only did a book signing here today, though, but it went well, quite well. Signed a lot of books.
okay. Introduce yourself, because there may be a few people that may not know who you are already. Although most everybody in here does, but like you got to introduce yourself and tell them who you are.
Okay. Well, my name is Joseph McGill. I'm the founder of the Slave Dwelling Project. We find slave dwellings wherever they are in the U.S., and we spend nights in them. We do this to honor our enslaved ancestors. We've been doing this since 2010. For 15 years, I've traveled to 25 states and the District of Columbia, sleeping in slave dwellings, and it's still going strong.
All right, and thank you everybody for tapping the screen. Thank you for sharing out the live. Thank you for introducing yourself. You want to tell the people who you are to me, or you want me to tell them?
Yeah, I'm the hold on. I am the father of Charity, your host. Um, I have known this for the last 2 months. Has been 2 or 3 months.
Yep, it's been
2
2 months.
months.
Okay, and let me
Yeah.
introduce myself. My name is Charity Berrier Muhammad. I'm hosting this live. I'm the founder of. Look, I'm the founder of a couple of things. I'm the founder of Gumbo for the Soul. I do catering. I write books. Also founder of Planting Pure Seeds Academy. That's a homeschool, and it's also a nonprofit. Then I have another nonprofit for my boys. I'm a single parent. I'm a veteran, and I'm his daughter. I'm the daughter of Joseph McGill. So now I'm a living historian. Oh, I'm also an educator. So I went from being all those things to now I'm his daughter, and also now a living historian now with the Slave Dwelling Project. So now I already asked you about the event. You was talking about the event. Like, what was the event exactly? Because everybody doesn't know.
Yeah. I got an invitation to come to this site for a an exclusive book signing. Uh, the book is called Sleeping with the Ancestors: How I Followed the Footprints of Slavery.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who are not familiar with the book, it chronicles my going around the nation and sleeping in slave dwellings. So, yeah, so more people have signed copies of the book right now. More people are more excited about coming out to slave dwellings or places that represent slavery, because a lot of those places now are doing the right thing,
Mm-hmm.
as in they are telling the stories of our enslaved ancestors. The audience today was quite receptive, was quite diverse. um, I would say it was about 40% African Americans, 60% white folks. We got a few young folks in the audience, which was real good. So yeah, overall it was a great event.
Okay, thank you everybody. Keep tapping the live for me and keep sharing it out. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, all right. So what do you hope? Because I have a couple questions for you. What do you hope the people that were there, like what do you hope that they would carry or walk away from? What do you think stuck with them from this event?
Well, I think they know that there's still hope for us as a nation in learning real history. Despite all that's being dictated to us, despite all the discouragement of wanting to, not learn this history or teach this history, they know that there are still organizations out there that, we just forget all that, and we do what's necessary to make sure that we will continue to tell the stories of our enslaved ancestors. Got a few invitations to come back and to some other places in the area.
Okay.
So that's a lovely thing. Also, a lot of good questions from the audience. A lot of folks want to know if I've seen any ghosts
Uh,
or things of this nature. That's a very common question, in when you sleep in slave dwellings.
mhm.
So I think overall it was good. I think the audience got what they were looking for. There were some folks who were already familiar with the project. Some folks were in the audience the first time I came here and presented, the time I actually slept here. So that was a good thing too. A good smattering of those people were in the audience. So it was all good.
Okay, so you said it was like a mixture. It was like a mixture of like African American and like Caucasian people. Like, what would you say like the age range was, as far as
I
like
would
the?
I would say the youngest is maybe about maybe 17, 18, and then there were seniors.
Mhm.
So the demographics was that expansive.
Mhm. Okay, well,
A lot of There was a lot of documenting that was filmed. So at some point it'll be distributed.
right. So I can get the link.
Yes.
All right, so I can get the link. Do you want to read? Do you want to read what you read to them, or do you have it where you can read it to them? You want to read like the little small paragraph about the.
Okay.
You can read like that last paragraph.
What's the page?
It was page 219.
219.
Hmm.
All right.
That last paragraph.
The last paragraph.
Yeah,
Let me find it.
on page 219.
Okay. The last paragraph reads: In 1703, 40% of New Yorkers owned slaves. This state was an example of how slavery in some northern states was much more intimate, because most enslaved people lived in the attic or basement of their owner's home. These homes have been saved not because they served as the living quarters of the enslaved who served the white men who owned them. These homes remain because they've been deemed more important than the enslaved humans who lived. So yeah, that's the last paragraph of what I read to the audience, because it was advertised that I would read a portion of this book, which I did after I did my PowerPoint,
Hmm.
which I think more exciting than listening to me read. But it was it was all good. It worked.
Well, I think it's important, like the educator side of me, because everybody learns different. So you got like visual people, you got people that learn better by hearing it, people that learn better by seeing it, then people learn better by hands on or doing it. So that's why I was like, can you just read like a little small, snippet for us, because everybody doesn't have your book. And your book, like where can they get your book though? I know where I got mine. I got mine in the mail with like a personal signature and everything. But where can everybody else get the book?
Yeah, and get it through Amazon. There's a digital version, and if you like the sound of my voice, there's an audio version.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, let me give you this word of caution. If you do a book, when you write your book, um, I think the hardest part of the process is doing the audio version of that book. But once you finish, you can exhale and enjoy it.
Yeah, I did too. I did too, Rachel. Rachel, actually, what I did is uh he sent me, so I got like a personal copy, right? So I got a personal copy from him. He sent it to me in the mail, and I waited like it seemed like forever, right? But it only took maybe like a week, and I got a personal copy. And whenever I got my copy in the mail, then I downloaded it on Audible, and I listened to it, and I followed along in the book as I was listening to it. And that way, I was still able, to multitask and still be like a parent at the same time, because it's a deep book now. It is a very deep book, and you still have to pick it up, put it down, pick it up, put it down. But it's well worth it. It's well worth the read or the listen, however you choose to digest it. It's well worth it because it has opened my eyes to a whole lot of stuff. It's like you know how you think you know stuff, and then it's like you figure out that you don't know what you think you know. So yeah, I was like, even the part, yeah, I got a personal copy because I'm the daughter. I'm his oldest daughter. So that's why I got a personal copy. But I mean, what is it possible for other people to get like a signed copy from you still?
Yeah, I just got into shipment of books, and that could be arranged. Do you want I'll need to know if they want the hardback version or the paperback. The paperback comes with a bonus because it has a teacher's guide
Mm.
in it.
Well, I'm still waiting
Um,
on that. I'm still waiting on the paperback because I want to see the teacher's guide. I'm curious to see what the teacher's guide has in it. My educator brain wants to read it. Thank you for sharing out the live. Thank you for liking the screen. Thank you for all of that. Anything else you want to tell us about your book?
yeah, it's co-written. It's co-written by Herb Frazier. One thing I found out, first of all, you got to know your lane. I'm not a writer like that. I'm a more matter of fact person, and
Mm-hmm.
it kind of gets me in trouble sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So I needed that person who could compel, or I needed someone who could write compellively, if that's a word.
Yeah.
Keep people
Mm.
interested in the subject matter. Flower it up a little bit. Make it more exciting. And I'm not that person, but you've got to also be capable of lowering your ego a bit because it's your thing, it's your project. I started this. Why should I relinquish all this and put it in somebody's hand? Well, you got to be trusting of that person
Mm.
and know that this is what it's going to be. And the fact that you know your limits and just surrender because you can hold on to something so tight that you could choke it. It'll die on the vine. And you don't want that either.
Right.
So you gotta find that sweet spot and just make it happen.
Right. So you said that, like you said, sometimes you do have to let go and surrender, uh, in order, to make it happen. Rachel said, the gentleman who sleeps in shackles blows her mind. You want to talk about that? The gentleman who sleeps in shackles.
Yeah, that is Terry James. I'm trying to convince Terry James to get on TikTok, but I haven't done that yet. It's going to take a little work. But Terry James,
You got to worry about the
he's my
screen too. If the screen can hold everybody.
yeah, he's got a big old head. Um, so Terry James, he's my ride or die. When I started this thing 15 years ago, Terry James was right there, and he would go to places sometimes without pay. So now when I have an opportunity for him, he gets the first refusal on all the living history that we do. But he came very early on and with two pairs of shackles because he was going to sleep in the shackles to commemorate our enslaved ancestors coming over on the Middle Passage. And he offered me a pair, and I said no. You can own that.
Mhm.
I'll own the slave dwelling project. I'll just stay in my lane, and you could own that. But
Mhm.
when he joins us now, that's what he still does. He sleeps in those chapels to commemorate our enslaved ancestors coming out over on the Middle Passage.
Yeah, that is very very brave and very dedicated. Yeah, I don't know if I could do the shackle part, because when you just imagine it, and envision it, um, all of it is kind of overwhelming when you think about it. Just just the whole process. But and then for him to like don those shackles that represented like extreme dedication to me when I read that part too. And I was like, yeah, I need to meet that guy. Because literally he's already sleeping in the slave dwelling. Then he putting the shackles on too. Like I was like, yeah, he's taking it up a notch. So yeah, that was but the other part too that I learned was about the presidents. The part about the presidents was like the biggest deal to me. So can you talk about that a little bit? What you said about the presidents?
Yeah, 12 of our former presidents enslaved people, something that they don't teach us in school. Well, I've slept at five presidential sites, being Thomas Jefferson, James Monroe, Andrew Jackson, George Washington, and James K. Polk. So yeah, I've slept in those places already. I'm hoping that I could sleep in more as the time increases. And when you think about the 12 presidents who enslaved people, I think people are most surprised by Ulysses S. Grant
Mm,
as an enslaver. Now he came um, to that place through marriage, and he did not enslave the person for very long. He emancipated the person, but he is still one of 12 presidents who enslaved people. And now I'm at the home of a justice of the Supreme Court, and there were 30 uh, Supreme Court justices who enslaved people, 30 of the 116, 45 signers of the Declaration of Independence enslaved people, 21 signers of the Constitution enslaved people.
that part, like all those numbers that you just said, like that blew my. Hey, Sierra's here.
Hey, Sierra.
Yeah, but that I like all everything you just said. Like when I read and like I read it and I heard it right, and I was like, that's crazy because like you keep saying, they did not teach us any of this in school. I was just telling my brother actually, I was like, you know what? They had us thinking that slavery was in the South, and if you didn't want to be a slave, everybody that didn't want to be a slave, they went to the North. There was no slavery in the North at all, and slavery was only in the South. That's what they had us thinking, basically. We had that movie Gone with the Wind, and we had the little bit that we had in our curriculum, but it was like just to even know, like we had to memorize all the presidents. That was one of the things that we had to do, and in social studies, civics, whatever it was called. As you go up a grade level, they call it something different. But every year we had to memorize the presidents, and I'm just like, when you said that number, what was the number you said about how many presidents it was?
12.
12 of them, like 12 of those people that they were making us memorize and learn about and just talk about and do reports and everything on, like that was not in any of that research that they were enslavers. That wasn't in any of that research. That wasn't in anybody's paper that anybody wrote. And even when I was teaching, right, the resources that I was giving my students to use to write papers, because I mostly had them acting out things, but like that wasn't a part of their research that they were doing. So just it's like, just imagine my like. So I was already like overwhelmed, just like from us, like finding out about each other, but then like I'm learning all this other information. It's like my whole school career is like it's like lies. It's like what were they? It's like what were they trying to do to us? So
Yeah,
that's
it was so tainted with United Daughters of the Confederacy, who had a real influence over the education uh, of that era after the Civil War started. You know, Tennessee gave us the United Daughters of the Confederacy and the KKK.
wow,
So they were highly influential in the education that we've got about slavery. You know, that Lost Cause, Moonlight and Magnolias, and hoop skirts and mint juleps. You know, that's the thing that they were peddling to us. And of course, you know, Hollywood didn't help.
right?
You know, they were peddling that same old mess. And you talked about Gone with the Wind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's crazy. Welcome in, Mama Susu. She said the erasure began and wants to continue.
Yeah, definitely. There's that desire to continue. You know, there's PragerU
Mm-hmm.
that they're pushing on us now, and we just can't let that stand. We cannot let that carry the day. If we let that carry the day, we would have failed our ancestors, and we just can't do that. And another thing about what we're dealing with now is that you know everybody else is playing catch up in this matter that we deal with. You know, the slave dwelling project is 15 years old. You know, we knew then that there was a problem. Um, other other folks now are just catching up to what that problem is. You know, there's a good chance that a lot of folks on this live right now had a history teacher who also doubled as a coach of some sport.
Right.
And so,
I had like every year. That's what they were coaches. They did math and they did civics or social studies. That's exactly
mhm,
what they did.
yeah,
Mm,
and now that's part of the problem. These folks, you know, they consumed that history. If they taught at all, some of these teachers just kind of went into their classroom and just kicked back and let the kids just do what they wanted to do.
yep.
And I think there's a helicopter flying by now. You may hear them.
You said it sounded like you were in my classrooms in my junior high. I had a junior high coach like that, and I had a high school coach like that. Like we literally were left to our own devices. We were left to in that class with him. And half the time he was getting called out, and half the time we ended up at the stadium because he was so focused on trying to win the game that week. We ended up at bleachers, either sitting in the bleachers or walking around the track at the stadium instead of learning anything.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of folks are have suffered and are suffering from that history that was taught through high school coaches or sports uh, followers and folks of this nature.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay, well, we're gonna do a quick. Okay, so one of the things that we did when we first found out about each other, we used to do like this or that. You remember when we used to do this or that when we first started talking to each
I
other?
remember that.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you a quick this or that. Okay, this or that, writing or public speaking. Well, let me explain to everybody. This or that, you have to pick one. There's no in between. There's no gray area. It's either this or that. So you can put it in the chat if you want to play along. Writing or public speaking. This or that. Writing or public speaking.
Public speaking.
Public.
Um, yeah, public speaking. I mean, I was just in front of an audience, and I got to go to Canada next week for public speaking. Then I'll be international.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so yeah, public speaking.
Public speaking. I would say both, but that's not the rules of the game, right? So
Well,
I would say right. Mm, well, I'll say this. Before I met you, I would say writing, but now I think I would say public speaking.
yeah.
Hmm.
Well, your writing is wearing off on me
Hmm.
because, uh, like I said, I'm kind of a straight up, just tell you what I think. But sometimes the way I say it is not very welcoming, and it gets
Right.
me in trouble often.
Uh huh.
but you know, my edges are now being smooth. So thank you,
Called
appreciate it.
balance. You're welcome. It's called balance. Okay, so do you want us to know anything else about the slave? Just about the slave dwelling project. We're gonna talk a little bit more about your events, but right now I'm only asking you about the slave dwelling project itself. Not
Yeah,
about any
yeah.
upcoming events yet.
Okay. Well, the slave dwelling project. What I would want all nine people in here is to think about slavery in your state, because I'm sure there are people in here who may think that, well, I live in Arizona, or I live in Connecticut. I'm in a northern state. There's no slavery here. There was no slavery here. Well, I kind of thought that way too
Mhm.
back in 1979. I thought slavery was a southern thing relegated to a plantation in a southern state. Um, well, if you think that way, you're going to miss out on a lot. Even if you keep it to that southern state, you're still missing urban slavery. Charleston, South Carolina, great example. You think the plantations, you're going to find, yeah, historically, slavery was there, but you got to think about that urban slavery also. And speaking of urban slavery, I got to prepare for a tour of a house in Charleston, so I'm looking forward to that. So people have to broaden their minds when they think about that slavery. We've got 25 states in the portfolio right now. Well, in is it October? Sometime this year, between now and the end of the year, we're going to add Michigan
Mhm.
to the list, because you got to think about, before that big sale, the Louisiana Purchase. The French were quite prominent in and around Detroit, and they were enslaving people in and around Detroit. In fact, John Brown said one thing that led him
Mhm.
to do what he did down the path he went down was the fact that he saw an enslaved person being punished in Michigan. So you got to think about all that when you think about finding where these slave dwellings are. And another thing, uh, when you get into these northern states, sometimes there's not an extra building, an outbuilding. Sometimes these enslaved people lived in the attic or the basement of some of these buildings.
Mhm. Yeah, Mama, welcome in, AJ. Welcome in. Mama Susu said Missouri, Illinois, Ohio, and Wisconsin.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. stayed I stayed in the lots of slave dwellings in Missouri. I've stayed in slave dwellings in Wisconsin. I have not yet added Illinois or Ohio to the list. I'm still looking. I'm aware of a place in Illinois. Used to be open to the public. This gentleman used to capture runaways, and he would put them to work in the salt mines.
Mm-hmm.
He also operated a breeding plantation at that site.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Well, thank you everybody for tapping the screen. So keep tapping the screen for us, please. Keep sharing out the live. Um, Now let's talk about my book. We'll talk about my book for a little bit. Well, we're going from one heavy to another heavy. So we'll talk about my book for Sierra said. Okay, well that's all good. Sierra, you're here. Tell Auntie. I know she's here in spirit, so that's okay. She said she can't join because she don't have TikTok. Your sister can't join because she don't have TikTok. But it's all good. She here in spirit. Tell her I know she want to be here. It's all good. All right, so this is the book that I wrote, you guys. It's called, actually, I have a chapter in this book. It's called Joyfully Courageous Book 2. And in this book, it's also available in my TikTok shop, by the way. But yeah, that's the book that I wrote. Do you want to say anything? Because it's weird for me to talk about my book. You wanna ask anything about my book?
Yeah, she's several time published, way more than me. I don't think I'll ever catch her, um, but that's okay. We can still share space
Hmm.
together. The book that she's currently promoting is she is 1/10
Yes.
of the authors in that particular book, and
Hmm.
it talks about her life her life before I entered it, and it's got some things that shook me.
Mhm.
I don't know how many people are familiar with the term uh, Medusa. I had to get used to that term. Um, uh, and if you want to talk more about that, I'll let you. But it is about that life in her younger years and some of the things that she endured. That is it will get to you guys. It'll tug at you. But it's real. It happened. So that's what an element, her element of what's in the book talks about, and other things. And it also talks about our encounter, meeting me, how that went down. Well, I don't know if it goes into detail about how it went down. That's going to be another publication.
Right.
Um, but
Yes.
but
Uh-huh.
but yeah, so you can take it from there if you want.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, the book is called Joyfully Courageous Book 2, and this book is an anthology. And I have a chapter in this book. But all of my books are available. I'm gonna answer that, Rachel. All of my books are available in my TikTok shop. And if it's not in my TikTok shop, you can also DM me because I have other books too. But the book that I'm currently promoting is called Joyfully Courageous Book 2. Like he said, I'm 1/10 of it. It's an anthology. My chapter is called Healing My Heart in My Picker. Because I talk about, like he said, about my childhood, about the challenges and the struggles that I faced in my childhood. And like he said, yes, I do talk about being a survivor of two Medusas. And I won't go into much detail because I'm trying to keep it light. But yeah, it's pretty heavy. I had a pretty tumultuous childhood, but I still turned out to be who I turned out to be today. But yeah, it's available. It's in my TikTok shop, and I have other books in my TikTok shop too. Now, the question I want to ask you though is, how do you think our books connect? Because you talking about history on your side, right? And I'm talking about healing out loud on my side in my book, right? So, can you hold your book up? All right. So my book is all about healing out loud. Your book is all about history, right? But how do you think my book and your book? How do you think they connect?
How do they connect?
Hmm.
Well, I know that DNA connects it. Now, is that written about? Uh, I How do they connect? That's a hard question. How do you help with that?
Well, you said you didn't want to know the question, so you said just ask you the questions. So I'm asking you the questions.
Well, is your book a daughter of mine? And I got a book, your father. It's good that I discovered that you're published. You're an author.
Mhm.
So we've got that in common. Um, although as I said, you're a lot more published than I am, and that's a beautiful thing. But to know that we have those things in common, it makes for a brighter future because
Mhm.
we have plans.
Right.
So, and those plans that are those details of what folks want to know. And I
Mhm.
see that Rachel has already asked a question
Yeah.
of what people want to know. So that's all I can say about connecting.
Mhm. Okay. All right. Thank you. You did good.
All
Good.
right.
Good answer. So that was your. That's how you. It was about you and how you think they connect, right? Well, Rachel, a Medusa. You have to think about Medusa in mythology. I don't know if you know the term Medusa in mythology. In mythology, Medusa was the god, right? And her hair, it was made out of snakes. And they used to send people to her island. That they banished to her island. And if anybody looked at her, they would turn to stone, right? But she was a victim. Medusa was actually a victim. She was a victim of a certain type of abuse. So that is why when I say I'm a survivor of two Medusas, that's kind of what that means. Yeah, that's kind of what that means. So hopefully I answer your question enough to where you kind of understand what I'm saying without saying it. But I do write about it in the book. So I go into more detail in the book. And also, if you're already a follower of mine, I have a couple of videos about it too. Because matter of fact, when we first met, that was kind of what I had to tell him too. I was like, well, it's easier if you just watch my videos, as far as the explanation on what a Medusa is. Yeah, it's not a good thing. I'll put it like that. Not a good thing. But I like your explanation of how you think our books connect because yeah, we're both authors, and that was good for me to know that to find that out too. That you wrote a book. I've written like you said several books. So that was a good way for it to connect. And like I think I saw a person say something about history, because you were talking about history, right? And you wrote about history and how you experienced history. And in my book, also, I talked about my history, right? And how I experienced my history, And so, you're talking about the ancestors and all that, and so that was that was a good connection. So yeah, I think you did a good job on answering the question. So I'm gonna ask you another this or that. All right. So I think everybody understands how it works now. So this or that, reading for knowledge or reading for healing. Reading for knowledge or reading for healing.
I read for knowledge.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's when I read, which is rare. But I certainly read for knowledge. The last book I read from back to front was Isabel Wilkerson's "The Warmth of Other Suns," and that's
Hmm.
been years. Um, but it certainly is for knowledge. I'm more of a getting it from a documentary or listening to somebody else or lecture. I like lectures.
Hmm.
Um, being lectured to by some knowledgeable person. But the short answer is reading for knowledge.
All right. And I would say reading for knowledge too, right? Um, because I think I told you that too, in some of our conversations is that it was more like a getaway for me. It was like the way I travel, like use my imagination. Like that show, that show Reading Rainbow.
Yeah.
I can go anywhere, I can do anything, Reading Rainbow. That was my way of, traveling and escaping and learning was because I used to read all the time. Like we had a celebrated reader. I used to win every year. I would always have like the most points. There may be people in here that know about a celebrated reader. I don't know. But we had a celebrated reader. You read a book, you take a test, and if you answer all the questions right on the computer, you get so many points for the book. The bigger the book, the more points you got. Like I think one book, I think the biggest one was maybe like 30 something points. And everybody was like, "Oh no, you're not gonna do that." And I was like, "Oh yes, I am." So yeah, so every year I won that. They would give you gift cards and money, prizes and stuff like that. And at every award ceremony, I always got like the reading award and the celebrated reader. My brother can tell you he's in here. I always won the reading. Um, can y'all hear me?
Yeah. Uh huh.
Yeah, see, that's the reason why I had wanted to do it on the computer because I was like, somebody gonna randomly try to call me. It's some random. But anyway, that was a distraction. So yeah, so I love to read. Yes, yes, Rachel. She said she read over 1,000 books every year. Yes, and now we have technology, so now we can listen to books too. So that makes it even better. And then you also have books on YouTube. I'm like a huge I make a huge deal out of reading. There's books on YouTube now, so I have my boys listen to books on YouTube and my students too. You can listen to books on YouTube. But yeah, but I like to read for knowledge, but I write for healing. So there you go. So there's another connection with our two books, right? So you were writing that book. I'm thinking for knowledge purposes, not for healing, but I wrote my book for healing. See? So
Wow.
there you go. So you learned something about me.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
A, 1,000 books every year.
Yeah, that's not that's a good. But I think I told you I used to read like because we didn't have cell phones, right? So you know how you go in that room in your house and you handle your business, your personal business. So you would take something in there with you, right? And I always took a book. You take a book with you or a magazine. I would take. My brother can tell you. Uh, Tony, you can type in the chat. I literally used to take the encyclopedias and the dictionaries and and we would go on trips. We went out of town a lot. I would take either a library book or encyclopedias, dictionaries, all that. I used to read all that. He can tell you. He may not type it
Wow.
in. He can tell you. Yeah, now I'm into. Rachel said now I'm into primary source research more than book reading for knowledge. Alex said reading for knowledge and writing for healing. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. All right, so I would like everybody now drop a heart. Drop a heart if reading has ever helped you heal. Thank you for liking the live, so keep liking it for us, and thank you for sharing it out. I appreciate that. Alex said he sifted through and skimmed, yes, but not complete reading. Well, I did get really good at that because I'm a fast reader too. So even with some of those books, those tests I took on accelerated reader, I didn't always read the whole thing. Sometimes I would just skim it just enough to be able to answer the questions because I got really good at that too. And that was one of the things I taught my students when I was teaching, because we talked about that. Because I knew they wanted them to pass that test, the test they took every year, I taught them how to read the questions first and then go back in the passage and find the answer. Like that's actually what I'm teaching my 6-year-old. I'm teaching him how to do that too. Teaching him how to look. You don't have to read that whole thing. Just read the question and then go back in there and find the answer. Like literally, it's not hard at all. Oh, my brother put a heart. He put a heart in the chat. Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. All right, now you have it. You want to say anything else about my book or reading or writing or anything?
Uh, no, but I knew your brother before I knew you.
Yeah, you did. But you're getting ahead of us. You getting
Hey,
ahead.
but hey, check it out. I got about 10 more minutes because Rachel gave me an assignment and I haven't completed it yet. In this, we're gonna be running out of daylight here real soon. So I got about 10 more minutes.
Okay, well, okay, all right. We're gonna keep it going. All right. So now the other thing that people need to know is that we did a fundraiser, right? We did a fundraiser campaign. You want to talk?
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
about the
It was a
fundraiser.
a t-shirt and hoodies. Like I'm wearing a t-shirt, hoodie right now. It says, "I like my history black, hold the sugar, stay woke edition." Well, this one said, "Slave dwellings are our classrooms. The ancestors built the curriculum." And we sold 43 units. And I just got the word last week, a few days ago, that it's on the way. It's
Yeah,
being shipped. It has been
yeah,
shipped.
yeah. I got that email
Um,
too.
so yeah, so that was a great thing.
Yeah.
That was a lovely thing. So that was a campaign success, and we're going to be doing another one. And but we need your help. We need you. We need a tagline, guys. We need a tagline for a T-shirt that pertains to the slave dwelling project. And what you should do if you want to participate is go to our website, slavedwellingproject.org, and get a kind of a synopsis of who we are and what we do and why we do it, and let those creative juices flow. Do what you do.
There it is. Rachel said that when you go to the cemetery, you can also go live there too. She said, I guess she's talking about you, and then we could tap into your live if you go live at the cemetery. But yeah, he can. He could.
Maybe.
Well, I just wanted to say congratulations because yeah, we did. That was like 43 units, and we collaborated. Like we worked together on that. We did teamwork, and we pulled it off. So you can pat yourself on the back for that. All right. Oh, where will the funds go?
Slave dwelling project. To do this, to do what I'm doing right now, to come to these places, it is fee for service. But here's the thing, there are a lot of organizations out there running scared, as in, they were tapped into those government funding that's no longer there. So the invitations are not coming in as fast and furious as they used to prior to this regime's election.
Mm-hmm.
So this helps fill that void. So it goes to our general operation.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's what they need to know. Like where, because we'll talk about that later. But yes, the funds are going directly to the slave dwelling project to help fund exactly what he's doing right now, and so he can keep doing what he's doing. Keep making us aware of our Black history, pretty much. Right now, you got something else coming up. We're gonna talk about us last, okay? So now we're gonna talk about what you got coming up. What you got coming up now? We got a
The
big thing
biggest thing,
in October.
yeah, the biggest thing is as in October of 2026,
Yeah.
October 1st through the 3rd, 2026 will be our ninth conference. Our ninth conference. It'll be in Charleston, South Carolina, and it's going to be uh, focusing on the colonial era in South Carolina, 1770 through 1783.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of folks may think that's a little restrictive, but here's what I'm encouraging people to do. I need them to juxtapose that time period to where they are, or a state they might be interested in,
Mm-hmm.
what was going on. It may have not have been a state during that period, but something was going on in those territories. The Native American presence, all that was happening. We want to tell those stories now because 2026 is the 250th anniversary of our independence from England.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's going to be commemorating that. So we want to tell our stories. And so that's what the conference is going to focus on. But we just gave the public the opportunity to submit proposals. You will have until November 21st to submit proposals to be a presenter at this conference. So again, go to the website, slavedwellingproject.org, and it'll give you more details about submitting your proposal and all the process to participate in the conference next year.
And who all can submit a proposal?
Anybody, anybody with knowledge of that time period, anybody willing to do the research to
Mm-hmm.
acquire the knowledge about that time period, or anybody who may already know that, oh, I already got it, I know what I'm going to submit. We want you to do that. We're looking for scholars, site managers, genealogists, archaeologists, everyday people
Mm-hmm.
who are somebody who may have traced their ancestry back to that period, black folks, who may have traced their ancestry back to that period and want to present that information to an audience.
Rachel asked, does it have to connect directly to South Carolina?
Not necessarily. Not if it does. I mean, they're going to get a second look, the South Carolina ones. But if it's compelling enough to, warrant a second look, not associated to the state of South Carolina, then yes. When I was just on this trip a few minutes ago, well, about an hour ago, I met a black um, Daughters of the American Revolution person.
Hmm.
And this black person has traced their ancestry back and know that there was a Revolutionary War era person who participated in the revolution.
Hmm.
So, of course, I encourage her. I mean, she is the one. We need your story. We need you to submit uh,
Mm-hmm.
uh, uh, a, a proposal. So, if you can make those kinds of connections, yes, I got an inquiry from a professor at the University of Mississippi. She wants to know particularly, well, does it have to be South Carolina? Well, what I'm going to tell her when I answer her is, well, we know Mississippi was not a state at that time. But what was going on in Mississippi 1770 through 1783? And she may have something. She may have already figured it out. You know, um, what uh, what percentage of South Carolinians found themselves in Mississippi when it became a state, when it did become a state, and what were they doing in 1770 through 1783? So there are creative ways to make this thing work. Or you may want to partner with somebody in South Carolina and bring a story together, present together.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the title is 250 Years and Counting, Reckoning, Resilience, in Remembrance. And it's going to be Charleston, South Carolina. And they have to submit the proposal by November the 21st, right?
Correct.
Okay. So that means I could do one, right? I could do one on like, because I've learned now I'm like Creole slash Geechee, so I could submit a proposal too now, right?
So are you Creole first?
I think so.
All right. Okay, yes, definitely.
I knew I was Creole for like the last 40 years. Like I just found out like what 2 months ago that I was Gullah Geechee too.
All right.
Mhm.
Okay.
So you said yes, that was a yes.
The answer is yes.
And so
Now it's going to be vetted like everybody else's.
nah. Okay. All right. So you want to say anything else about the conference and about the proposals?
Yeah, I think the best thing for folks to do is go to the website and they can find out more details about that.
So it's slavedwellingproject.org, right?
Correct.
Yeah, because every time I type it in, it tries to put the in there, and I'm like, no. But okay, now I think what everybody wants to know now is somebody asked, how did we meet or when did we meet? So let's talk about that.
Yeah, she came for me. So I get this call from a DNA detective, and
She might be in
this
here. Talking about a DNA detective.
this DNA detective is laying out stuff about me that's true, and then they mentioned Donna Barrier, your mother. I said, yeah, you found me, and so so here we are.
Oh, Sierra said you giving our book away. No, he not gonna tell everything. He telling like the basics of it. We're not gonna give away everything because we do have a book to write. So go ahead.
Yeah, so that DNA, you can't, like Thomas Jefferson, you can't escape that.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And so we've been hanging out. We've been communicating ever since. We have we talk for 2 hours about every night, and just we get to know each other. And I'll let you tell them about us really meeting, physically meeting.
Yeah. So like he said, I had to take a DNA test to figure out who my dad was. But that was also a result of me writing this too, though. Because my thing was I was trying to heal out loud, and so I didn't want to pass down like a bad legacy to my boys. So I was like, it's got to be an explanation, right? So I was like, I need to figure out who my real daddy is. So yeah, I took a DNA test, but I took the test last year. But then I decided to go back and try again this year. And after I went back and tried again, it led me to this guy right here, and like he said, the lady called him because I was too nervous to call. So she called him, and I'm extremely thankful that you were open and receptive. But I also think it has something to do with the work that you've been doing for over like 15 years. And we also have found a YouTube video that you had made when you did a TED talk, and you was talking about DNA in the TED talk. So we were like, everybody that was on the research team was like, you know what? We think he's going to be very open to finding out about you because he talks about DNA in his research and he's all about preserving Black history. And I can tell everybody that they told me who you were first. And when they told me who you were, I looked up your name. And when I looked your name up, all these pictures popped up, right? And I threw the phone down because I was like, no way. There is no way that this dude right here is my dad. Like, there's no way. It's not possible. Because I was like, this dude look like he's famous. Like, you can't just Google a regular person name and all these pictures pop up. So, but anyway, uh, oh yeah. She said, we look so much alike, it's obvious that you are related. Yeah. Yeah. So it took me a minute. It took me a minute to see that we looked alike. Until people kept saying I took his whole face and you look just like him. Y'all twins, all of that. Yeah, I see it more like when he shaved. Like after he shaved, then I could see like the shape of my face and all that stuff. I could see it more. Um, and then also the picture that we took like when we first met. So now fast forward, like you said, we talk on Zoom. Like it's like a standing. We got like a standing Zoom date pretty much. And I tell people in my personal life, they're like, "Oh, can you?" I'm like, "No, I can't do that because I got a Zoom call I got to be on." But yeah, we've been getting to know each other. That was on July the 9th when we figured it out. And I like to say we found each other. I don't like to say I found him. I like to say we found each other. That's how I like to say it. So when I first figured out who he was, I was calling him my father So to anybody I talked to, I was like, oh, that's my father. I just figured out who my biological. He was my biological father. So then he had a birthday in August, and so we had been talking for like a month. And I was like, you know what? I think he can go ahead and graduate to being my dad now. So now he's my dad. So yeah, so now it's been about 2 months. But oh, when we first the first conversation we had in July, the first thing he said to me was, well, I'm coming to Louisiana in September. Now this is July the 9th when we first talked on the phone. And on July the 9th, he said, I'm coming to Louisiana in September and we can meet each other face to face then. And I was like, okay. Cause I was a little it was kind of awkward for me. If you get my book, you'll see why it was awkward for me. But I'm like, I don't know this dude. Like, this is my first time talking to him on the phone. And the first thing he said, now I felt good though, right? Because you go from not having a dad to now you know who your dad is. And then this man on the phone, this your dad, right? But he's saying like, hey, I want to meet you. I'm coming to Louisiana. So I felt good about that part. I was happy and excited that he wanted to meet me in person. But then I was like, but I'm cool with this though. I'm cool with the phone for right now. But hold on just a minute. All right. Can everybody hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, my TikTok doing some crazy stuff. But now I see why when I go to other people's live, they're like, I don't know what TikTok doing. But anyway, so fast forward, he said we could meet. Oh yes, thank you. She said Rachel said we're both very brave. Yeah. Yeah. So also too, Sierra, yeah, Sierra's in here. His family too has been very welcoming and very loving. His sister, she called me, I think like the next day or two. After he told her, she turned right around and called me. And then so I have a brand new auntie. I got like a brand new uncle, his brother. He sends me an inbox every day. Every day he's gonna send me a good morning and a good night. I done talked to my new auntie several times. I done talked to her daughter several times. They've been very, open and very welcoming and all that. But fast forward to when we met each other in person. So we met each other for the first time in September, the first weekend in September. He had an event that he was doing. So I got to meet him at the airport. I had a whole sign and everything. It's on my TikTok if you wanna see it, because I've been posting everything. Because I'm a fledgling content creator too. That's like another stream of income. Because I have a lot of side hustles, right? I got my LLCs and all that going. But we met each other for the first time in the airport, and I had my sign and everything. And for some reason, I was nervous and I was excited. I was nerve skited, and I was hiding behind my sign when we first met. So he was trying to take pictures. I had this other lady taking pictures, but then when he like held his arms up and for like he wanted to hug me, it felt really natural. So we just had like a big hug and everything. And I got emotional, but I didn't cry, but I got emotional. So, but that weekend was a lot of firsts. First time I'd ever been to his event. First time I drove over a bridge over water, but he was right there beside me. But I talk about that too on my TikTok. I'm trying to go fast, but I know he got another thing. But it was definitely a monumental weekend. It was a lot of firsts for me, like I said. It felt really good, to meet him in person, and I wasn't as nervous as I thought I was gonna be. It was like the nerves kind of just like melted away. We got to go to three different locations, two different homes that were built by enslaved people, and we got to go to a plantation, and we got to do I call it a spend a night. Like he said, he spends the night in slave dwellings, and I call it a spend a night. So I got to do a spend a night. My first spend a night. It was an experience that's hard to explain. There was what is it called? An exhibit, I guess, inside of the plantation that was called soil. That spoke to me a whole lot because it was the soil from every plantation in the state of Louisiana, and I got like super emotional, and I was stuck there for like 10 minutes or so. Um, yeah, it was an experience that I will never forget. And I think it was just a culmination of everything. Like all the emotions were just like piling in on me, and we've talked about that too because I know that, there's DNA in that soil, right? And then it's like now it's like I came face to face with like my DNA basically. And it was really it was I don't know how to describe it. And I'm normally like a wordy person, but when it comes to talking about feelings and stuff, I'm just like ah. But uh yeah, I of course I took pictures, and video and everything, and I can post about things better than I can talk about it. But it was, I guess it was amazing to like see him, in his element, doing his thing, something that, he's been passionate about for like over 15 years. And it was kind of like our paths met, in a way, because it's like I've been, an advocate, learning how to use my voice, for myself and children. And it's like this is what he's been doing for like years and years. And we was finishing each other's sentences, and he let me eat half his sandwich. And it was just, yeah, it was just a lot. It was a lot. It was fun. It was exciting. My boys have a grandpa now. Um, yeah. You want to talk now, cause so I don't, cause I'm trying not to get
Yeah.
emotional.
So she looks just like my mom. For those of you who knows, I don't know how many people on here knows my mom except
Oh, I posted a
Sierra.
picture today. You haven't seen it yet, but I posted a picture today.
I,
That
I saw
picture.
that.
Oh, you saw it? Oh, okay.
I saw that. Um, but yeah, we'll talk about that. It did something to me. Good, positive.
Yeah.
It really did something to me.
Hmm.
Um, but I'm gonna have to end this. It's
Yeah.
really getting we're really running out of daylight quickly, and we
Hmm.
need to carry out Rachel's assignment
Hmm.
because I don't need to be on her bad list. Um, so hey guys, it's been real nice hanging out with you. I'm hoping that we can. Well, I know that we have the ability to
Rachel,
do this.
Rachel, Rachel said you could just take the phone with you to the cemetery. That's what Rachel said.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not going to be by myself. This person may not want to be out there like that. She has to live here. I can do what I do and leave. Um, so I want to honor her whatever she wants to do. She's going to take me over to the place,
Mm.
to the cemetery, and it's a little controversial at this point. So I don't want to. Again, I'm going to abide by what she wants to do.
Yeah.
So so guys, it was great hanging out with you.
But
I'm
we'll do
sure
it
we'll.
again. Yeah, we'll do it again.
All right, you guys. Well, you guys can just continue to hang out, but I gotta go.
Okay, I'm gonna call you later.
All right, lovely.
All right. You gonna say the L word in front of everybody?
Peace and love.
Peace and love.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Does anybody have any questions? He dipping out on us because he gotta go before the daylight. You know how to hang up?
Yeah, I'll figure it out. I'll turn the phone off if I have to.
No, I can. I know how to do it. Y'all be safe and careful. I'll call you later.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Peace and love. All right. Okay, you guys. I'm trying not to get emotional now. That's is I guess a good thing. Hey, you guys, how you doing? Thank you for tuning in to that episode. Thank you for sticking it out. He was in New York, as you saw, but he still made time to go live, and that's one of the things that I do like and appreciate. My dad is ever since we found out about each other, he still, goes out of his way to make time, for us to get some quality time in, and we're doing it virtually, and everything's turning out great. You got to see how I felt, how he felt, and yeah. Thank you guys once again for walking with us on this journey. Stay tuned for part 2. There is a part 2 to this episode. It was our first time going live on TikTok. So thank you guys once again. Stay tuned for part 2. Stay blessed and have the day you deserve. Peace.